What is going on, Burgundy family, Washington football family? It is your boy, Burgundy Boss, and we are back. Thank y'all. I have been on a little bit of a hiatus here lately. My uncle died, so the funeral is actually tomorrow, recording this Tuesday night. So you see this Wednesday, we actually are at the funeral probably, but it took a lot from me, man, and I had to step away for a minute, but let's get into it. We're going to talk Philly. We're going to talk Washington, Sunday, 1 o'clock. All right. I know I didn't even leave a preview, so there's not a lot to cover on the preview side of it. But we're going to get into it. Before we get started, remember, like the video, leave your comments below, leave suggestions, leave guests you want to see on the show, leave everything below. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Follow me on Twitter. That's Burgundy Boss with a B. Now let's get into it. All right, so today we're going to talk about Washington, Philly. We did not get the outcome we expected. I don't think there was a lot of optimism going into this game. If I would have done a preview video, I would have probably guessed that we were going to lose. We got Brandon Sheriff back, but we were losing Eric Flowers, losing Antonio Gibson, no Curtis Samuel again. Like, there's not a lot to be optimistic about with this team to this point. This game was kind of, as Ron has said in his post-game presser, this game was basically the culmination of the entire season into a game, because it was horrible start to finish. Like, I guess not start to finish, because there were parts in the beginning there. Like, there was a point of this game, like, I'm looking at the box score right now. Into the first quarter, Washington is up 10-0. We're up 10-0 on Philly. But that hasn't happened before this season. In the first meeting, we went up 10-0, and guess what? We blew that lead too. Philly has learned how to not get out to a big lead and then blow it, like they did a couple years ago, week 1, 2020. I know y'all remember that game. Anyways, so we get off to an early start. I mean, even at halftime, we're up 16-7. It's looking hot. It's looking nice. But the problem is, this was a game of two halves, okay? In the first half, you have, Scott Turner calling an excellent game. Taylor is out there looking hot. Like, he's looking focused, laser focused. He's out there throwing dimes. Everything's on the money, like going through reads like it was nothing. Jarrett Patterson is working, Jarrett Patterson, shout out Jarrett Patterson. He scored a rushing touchdown in this one. But, everything looked smooth in the first half. Defense was keeping them nice and slow. We only gave up 7 points in the first half, and they ended up with 20. So what does that tell you? And we go into halftime. I'm feeling pretty good. I'm like, okay, I really wasn't very invested in this game, because I came in with the thought that we were probably going to lose. And so, we go up 10-0. It's like, all right. And I mean, if you think about it, coming into this game, we had a 1% chance to make the playoffs. Like, we needed to win against Philly and against the Giants. And then we needed, Philly to lose both. Like, Minnesota had to lose both. New Orleans had to lose both. Like, we needed everybody to lose out, and we had to win. It was next to impossible. So I was like, chances we're making the playoffs, not that great. So I'm, half-ass invested in this one. Cool. This game was indicative of where we are right now. I mean, after going up, we didn't score a point in the second half. I think that tells you how these two halves went, because first half we come out, we're hot, we go up 16-7. Offense is looking good, defense is looking pretty good. But in the second half, they exposed our defensive ends. They said, we're going to get Jalen on the move. We're going to run read options. We're going to run RPOs to the edges. We're going to run rollouts, and we don't think your DNs are athletic enough to stop Jalen Hurts. Boy, were they right. They were right on that one. Man, this game had me missing Montez Sweat, and it had me missing Chase Young especially, because those two, I don't care what you want to say about them and how they played early on in the season and how we were not as good as we have played in the second half of the season without them. Their athleticism would have shut all of that down. There would not have been any crazy rollout, throws 30 yards downfield, toe tap Devontae Smith. None of that would have happened because it wouldn't have gotten to the edge. Because that's one thing that Chase Young and Montez Sweat do extremely well is contain. In previous years, and especially the last 5 years, we have struggled extremely bad against mobile quarterbacks. I mean, Daniel Jones, Dak Prescott has burned us. Jalen Hurts has burned us. I mean, you name ex-mobile quarterback, and yes, he has burned us. It don't matter who he is. He has burned us, guaranteed. And then kind of like Montez Sweat and Chase Young come in here and they start, playing really hot together, and all of a sudden it's like, wait a minute, we're actually kind of starting to contain those mobile quarterbacks. Yeah, they get the occasional run up the middle for 10, 15 yards or whatever, but for the most part, they were canceling out mobile quarterbacks, and that was cool. It was cool to finally see that. And then we lost them for the season, and it was, it was all bad. That's all there is to it. It was all bad. We missed them in this one. If you look at the box score, we still outperformed Philly, and we should have won. And we had a chance to win, but, Taylor Heineke, again, playing hero ball, again, trying to make something happen late in the game. I think most fans, you tell them, I'm giving Taylor Heineke the ball, Washington offense, Taylor Heineke the ball, 2 minutes left, you need a touchdown to score. Most fans are, I'm pretty confident, that we would score on that drive. Well, this is what you get with Taylor Heineke. You get 50-50 because that's really how he is. Half the time with that 2-minute drill, he's going to go down, score a touchdown, win you the game. He's the hero. And then there's the other half of the time where he's doing all the same stuff, but he comes out on the other side where he ends up throwing a pick and you lose the game because, Taylor was trying to win the game for you. He was trying to play hero ball, winning the game. So, take it however you want to take it. Taylor, listen, I've said this all season long. A lot of other people are getting on that train now. And according to JP Finley, John Keim, all the beat reporters, they all say the same thing. All season long, Washington views Taylor Heineke as a high-end backup or low-end starter. No way Ron is content with a low-end starter at quarterback. No way. There's a very good reason that they went out and signed Ryan Fitzpatrick before the season started. In the offseason, there's a reason they signed Ryan Fitzpatrick with Taylor Heineke on the roster, signed for 2 years. Yeah, they knew Taylor wasn't going to be enough. So that's why they brought in Ryan, but then Ryan got hurt. And then what doesn't get a lot of attention by this team is that, everybody looks at Taylor as our starting quarterback. Well, he wasn't supposed to be. He was supposed to be the backup. He is actually, ironically, a lot like Ryan Fitzpatrick, where you need him for 4 or 5 games. He can give you 4 or 5 really good games. But then you try to stretch the problem, the content that he gives you, and that's where you really start to see all the holes in his game, And viewing him if you're viewing him as a QB1, you're gonna be disappointed, no doubt about it. He didn't have a bad game in this one, guys. He really didn't. 27 to 36. 247 and a pick. And the pick came at the very end. So up until the very last bits of the game, 250. 250 yards, no touchdowns, no picks until that very last drive. I was like, oh, man. Okay. So, I mean, definitely not a bad game on Taylor's part. Not a good one either, though. Like, you need those scores. And I get it. We had the red zone touchdown. You know, that's cool. But it wasn't enough in this one. It really wasn't. So, but we do have positives. There are positives. Cole Holcomb. Cole Holcomb is a starting linebacker on this team. A former 5th-round pick out of North Carolina who was thought of as a very agile coverage linebacker. And he has really improved himself in the run game. I mean, you saw that goal line stop that he made, and he ran that just like a running back. He, slid, and then hit the hole, and guess what? The running back was right there in that same hole, and he shut him down. Because that was textbook linebacker play right there. I was like, all right, I see you, Cole. I see you, baby. I mean, as I said in my last video, Terry, I've kind of become lukewarm on Terry. Not saying don't pay Terry. Not saying don't pay Terry top dollar, because do pay Terry top dollar. Yes, indeed. But, I mean, you can say what you want about quarterback play, or you can say what you want about him being schemed properly or improperly. Terry's the type of guy where he's the number one, but, like, he can't do it without an elite quarterback. You need a top half of the league quarterback for Terry to shine. He is not going to DeAndre Hopkins for you and, lead the league in yards and catches because he's the only option when you've got a practice squad quarterback throwing him the ball. He's just not that dude. Love the guy. Hope he gets paid. Hope he stays here. But I used to view him as like a top 5 wide receiver in the league. Not so much anymore, I would say top 10 to 15 is where he sits, really. But I think they have to do a lot better job of getting him the ball. I mean, like, they love to throw him screens and they love to throw him slants, but he's fast. Run him on some jets, all those ghost jet routes you run. Send him on some. Get the defense moving. And they're going to follow him because he's Terry freaking McLaurin. They're going to go. That's all there is to it. Cam Sims had a solid game again, proving that he's a viable option in the pass game. That, all these games this year, he's been inactive, just healthy scratch, whatever. That's cool. But he needs more playing time. He does. And they have a big decision to make with him because he's a restricted free agent this offseason. So they're going to need to tender him or let him go or whatever. But I hope they do the right thing. I hope they bring him back. He's another guy I want brought back. JD needs brought back because the offense, you could tell the difference this season in the offense when we didn't have JD McKissick out there. It was night and day difference. Antonio Gibson, I'm hearing a lot of people say they want Antonio Gibson moved out to wide receiver where he belongs, quote unquote. No, leave him at running back. Let him develop. I promise you, he is Aaron Jones. That's who he is as a running back. Let him get there. He's got the size. He's got the athleticism. He's got the vision. It just comes with time. You got to let the guy develop. Like, you can't say, well, this isn't working, so we give up. Now, on the other side of the ball, there's a guy who didn't get much playing time in this game, and you know who I'm talking about, Jamin Davis. He didn't get a lot of playing time. We saw a lot of David Mayo, which is not a good sign. And then after the game, Ron came out and kind of said, yeah, well, we really need to consider that he might not be our Mike, our middle inside linebacker, that he might be an outside linebacker. And that's kind of where I've seen him the whole time. He's He's a weak side or strong side linebacker, not a middle. He's not a green dot guy. I mean, he did it at times, but he's not a green dot guy. Cole Holcomb is your green dot guy. That is your leader of the defense. That is your quarterback of the defense. That's the guy you want. So I mean, it definitely looks like we'll be adding to linebacker this offseason. Probably looking after a middle linebacker heavy. Should be getting John Bostic back. I know a lot of you don't like John Bostic, but he does okay. He's kind of that middle of the pack. He gets the job done. Might not do nothing crazy with it. Might not win us games single-handedly, but he gets it done. There was a De'Ami Brown sighting in this game. Ironically, I mean, dude has showed up the last couple of weeks and made some big-time catches. He had a 1 for 25 in this one. He had a big, 40-yarder last week. And now that we're talking about young rookie wide receivers, can we talk about somebody? And I like this guy, okay? I like this guy a lot. But please tell me, Taylor, why are you throwing to Dax Milne on a 4th and 4 with the game potentially on the line? Why are we doing that? Why? I know Scott didn't call it that way. Scott wasn't saying, "Oh yeah, let me get Dax Milne, in the flat on an out route by himself and throw to him, Taylor." And heart goes out to the kid. I like Dax Milne. I think he's coming back next year. I don't think we bring back Adam Humphries. I think Dax Milne takes over that Adam Humphries role, that third down slot route runner type. I think he takes over that role next year, but I mean, he ran to the sticks and then had to come back to catch the ball, and so he was short. And I don't see any world in which that was what Scott drew up in the playbook. I mean, maybe they took away what he wanted and that was the check down, but I don't see it. Defensively, okay, I guess. Jamin Davis had a sack in this one. No interceptions, no other sacks. We had 1 sack as a team. Cole Holcomb had 5. Cam Curl showing up again. Cam Curl, man. This guy is next to get paid, man. You need to pay Cam Curl because, dude's looking nice. Like Logan Thomas said earlier in the season, top 5 corner or top 5 safety in the league, bar none. Other than that, one more I forgot to talk about. Joey effing Sly. He's a Sly guy. Dun, 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 dun. Joey Sly. 3 of 3, and he hits a 55-yarder. How long have we've been waiting for a kicker who can kick all the kicks, who can make all the kicks? When's the last time we had confidence that a guy could hit a 55-yarder? And I'm going to say this, if this was a Hopkins game, Hopkins hits 2 of the 3 and misses the 55-yarder. He makes the 2 easy ones and then misses the 55-yarder. He's like, but I feel like we finally have a guy who can make all the kicks from wherever we ask him to kick it from. Yeah, we might get an occasional miss or something, that's cool. I can rock with that. Just as long as you don't be having no Mason Crosby type games. Mason Crosby drives me insane watching that guy. Because he can have a game where he goes 5 of 5 and all 5 are 50 plus. And then he can have a game where he goes 0 for 5 and they were all under 50. I mean, just terrible. Eagles side, they won 20-16, So they had to be doing something right. Jalen Hurts didn't actually have a crazy game. Jalen Hurts had 215. 17 and 26 for 215. Not great. Not bad. Under 50%. Oh, no, that's not under 50%. Oh, my goodness. What am I talking about? Anyways, disregard. Boston Scott had a solid game, 14 for 47 and 2 touches. Those 2 touches were key, too. Both happened in the second half, in case you weren't following. Hurts also had 44 on the ground. Dallas Goedert, hey, tight end tearing us up. I said a couple weeks back that Dallas Goedert doesn't have that big game in the first game we played. If Cam Curl's there, he still kind of killed us in this one. But he would have had 170 and 2 touches if Cam Curl wasn't here. Instead, he was limited to 6 for 70. So, that's what it is. Like, that's what you get with Cam Curl. Like, you're definitely going to limit whatever tight end we're playing against. Goddard is a good NFL tight end. Arguably top 5, I would say. Arguably. You got your Kittle, your Kelsey, your Andrews, Waller, potentially Goddard, potentially in that 5th spot. Not a lot else. I mean, held Devontae Smith to 54 yards. Not anything crazy. Josh Sweat killed us on this one though. 1.5 sacks. Rodney McLeod had that game-ending interception, and it was a hell of a play by him too. That was not an easy interception that he made. Like it was an overthrow by Taylor Heineke. He was trying to put it in a place where John Bates could just climb the ladder, go up and get it. But I think the defender that was covering Bates on that front side, I think he was a little bit early, and he tripped him up. Whatever. You don't want to call defensive PI. I don't really care because we're out of the playoffs anyways. But, he goes up, tries to make a play on it, overthrown into the end zone. McLeod makes a diving interception. Great hands, hauls it in, and ta-da. There you go. You have your game. It's over. Kneel it out. Victory formation. As far as the game, there's not much else to speak on. Not much else to speak on. We broke the Eagles' streak of consecutive games holding the team under 300 yards. We broke it. We hit 312 in this one. The Eagles hit 330. So they beat us. But I mean, this was a close game. Like passing yards, 212 to 218. Rushing yards, 118, which was Philly. Philly had the 118 to 94. Like this is a close game, and a game that I think we should have won. And I think with a different quarterback, we definitely win. I mean, I'm just saying, I definitely think Taylor's days are numbered, and I think he definitely knows it. So, with that being said, we're going to get into some new information that came out today. Today, the Washington football team announced that they would be revealing the new name and logo and jerseys on February the 2nd of 2022. So that's exciting news. We're less than a month away from that. We saw a lot of little tidbits in that. There was burgundy and black. And let me see if I can pull it up here. Here we go. I found them. Let's pull it up here real quick. So this is from earlier today. You've got, these look clean. You've got like a matte burgundy, and the burgundy is a little darker than what we've got. It's kind of closer to what we've got on my logo here. And then it's got kind of it looks like a darker yellow. It's not your traditional yellow, but it's not quite gold. It's kind of somewhere in between. And then, we've got, it looks like matte black helmets, alternate helmets. So that'll be real nice. You've got, looks like, it's got some white and burgundy. Kind of just giving you guys a closer up shot of the new jerseys. I mean, obviously a Terry jersey, right? It's 17. There's the matte black helmet. Can't see a logo or anything on it. And then there you go. There's your matte burgundy. Looks like the stripes are supposed to come back too. So all that could be exciting. That's all going to be dropped on the 2nd of February, like I said. You know, a lot of focus has been turned towards the draft. I myself I just started all my preliminary draft stuff. So I'll be putting out some draft content here in the next couple of weeks. Like I said in my NFL primetime recap videos, I'm going to start with quarterbacks and just move down the position lines. You know, I'll do all offense at once. I'll do quarterback, running back, receiver, O-line, tight end. And then I'll go to defense. And then I'll start D-line, and we'll finish with safeties. We're going to work through the whole process. I'll do a top 10 at every position, and some positions are going to be tougher than others. It's cool. We're going to get through it. We have a long off season. Obviously, any important news that comes about with Washington, whether it be, you know, any changes to the front office, any changes on the roster, the uniform, the name, all that stuff, it's going to be crazy. It's going to be a crazy month we're about to have with lack of football, rolling up to the Pro Bowl where we announce the new Washington team name, and where we could have our 2 Pro Bowlers, Brandon Sheriff and Jonathan Allen, wearing the new helmets at the Pro Bowl. So that's exciting stuff. We've got a lot more content coming. Make sure you check out all my stuff on the channel, whether you're a Washington fan or just an NFL fan. You know, I cover all 32 NFL teams. We do the NFL primetime recap series, where after all the primetime games, we recap them. You know, I'm doing my filler recap a little bit late here. I had to work through all that personal stuff I had going on. I had to get through it. I finally decided, just, you know, I've got to move on, and I've got to start making videos because that's what the fans want. That's what I want to do. So got through it. I will probably try to put my Giants preview out on Friday so that we can do the Saturday NFL primetime on Saturday, and then we'll have primetime NFL recap on Sunday and primetime NFL recap on Monday. You know, I know that normally I do, you know, the awards. I guess we can do them. We'll go ahead and do the awards for the Philly game. A lot of you might not like this, but I'm giving the John Riggins Award to a tough SOB who's a rookie. It's John Bates. I mean, first receiving touchdown of his career this week. Had a really good game. It's overshadowed by the play where, you know, everybody says it was his fault. No, that defender got there early, tripped him up, so he still tried to make a play on it, fell, was overthrown, and then becomes an interception. None of that was on Bates. Bates had a really good game in this one. He's an excellent blocker. He's a good receiver. He does need to work on his routes and receiving ability a little bit, but right now, all indications are that he's going to be a really good NFL tight end. How good, we don't know. We will find out, though. We sure will. And there was, you know, and I was one of them. There was a lot of hate on John Bates coming out of college because, you know, who is this guy? We don't even know who this guy is, you know. He doesn't have a lot of receptions in college, and you just spent a 5th-round pick on this guy. Like, what? And I was one of them. But then when I went back and I watched the tape and I watched when he did catch the ball, he was good. he doesn't drop the ball. He has good, reliable hands. And the reason he didn't have a lot of catches in college was because of how good a blocker he was and is. And he's only going to be a better blocker. A couple of weeks ago, he had a 95 PFF grade in run blocking. And I was just mind blown by that. Because there's offensive linemen that don't put up 95 PFF grades, let alone our 5th round rookie tight end out of Boise State. So that's it for the John Riggins Award. We move on to the Darrell Green Award. You know, it was kind of hard to give this award because there wasn't a lot, you know, that was like that stood out on defense. But I think I'm going to give this one, and this is going to take, man, this is going to get some blowback. I know it, but it's worth it. I'm giving the Darrell Green Award this week to another rookie. Yes, another rookie gets another award, even though everybody talks about how horrible our draft class was this year. I'm giving this one to Jamin Davis. He had the crucial sack, the only sack by the team in the entire game. And he did that. He had one of the better games. I mean, he didn't lead the team in tackles or anywhere close, but he did a solid job when he was in there. And he only played like 11% of snaps. He played on like one series. Like, what? Don't tell me that they wanted to see what they had in David Mayo. No, they don't. They're trying to admit that they made a mistake by drafting this guy in the first round, thinking he would come in and immediately be Luke Kuechly. And he's not. And so they're frustrated. But I mean, come on, give the guy time. Like, you knew he was a project when you drafted him. You knew that he wasn't going to be Defensive Rookie of the Year when you drafted him. So you give the guy time, move him around a little bit, play him at Sam, play him at Will, play him at Mike, play him at all the different spots, and see what you got in the guy, because you cannot give up on a guy that easy. You just can't. Okay? Anyways, he wins the Darrell Green Award. We move on to the not so great awards on this show. And we start with the Josh Doctson Award. And I'm probably going to catch flack for this one too, but my Josh Doctson Award, which goes to the worst offensive performance, in my opinion, in this game, and I'm giving it to Taylor Heinicke. Listen, if you would have told me at halftime that Taylor Heinicke was going to lose us this game, I would have told you no way. He is laser focused and he is dotting these guys up. Like, he is nailing everything, out here throwing lasers play after play after play, driving us down the field with ease against this very good Eagles defense. There's no way he loses this game for us, especially when we were up 17-6 at half. But he did, unfortunately. The second half, he came out, he was overthrowing, he was underthrowing, he was, back footing throws, and he was sidearming throws, and nothing was hitting the mark. And we have guys making spectacular catches, and we're like, wow, what a throw by Taylor. Wow, what a great play by Taylor. Listen, the guy's a magician. He makes plays off schedule. He creates for you offensively. But so can a lot of other guys. Like, he is not... Washington fans have been so starved for starting quarterback that they think he's the answer, and he's really not the answer. He's really not. Most people, if you ranked him among NFL quarterbacks, would rank him somewhere between 20 and 30. I would be willing to bet, because that's where he sits. That's who he is. Like we've said, and like Keim has said, like Finley has said, Tischler has said, Pete has said, hey, they view him They view him as a bottom tier starting quarterback or a high end backup. And I really think that Ron views him as the latter. Because why? That's who he is. Point blank. Period. End of story. All right, so we move on to the other award, and it is the David Amerson Award. And for those of you who don't remember who David Amerson was, he was a second-round corner / safety that we drafted out of NC State. He led all of college football in interceptions the year before he was drafted. And we drafted him, and he had like 2 interceptions in 4 years. He was always getting burnt. My personal opinion was he was a safety. And we tried to force him to play corner. And he's not a corner. He's a safety. And actually, his career ended before anybody could try him at safety. So, I mean, that's really the story of David Amerson. But we give this award this week. And this was kind of hard because as a whole, the defense played pretty well. But I'm giving this one to, and this guy might not even deserve this because this guy's a young guy. He's a foreign player. Bumney Rutini. He played as good as you can. You know? Like, what do you expect from a guy who hasn't played football that long, who's been on the practice squad, not really the type of guy that you would even put in that kind of position? You know, he played 90% of snaps in this game. Like, most starting defensive ends don't play 90% of snaps. And they played him 90% of snaps, and they gave William Bradley King like 10% of snaps. And I mean, I'm okay with that, but like if you're going to play him that much, like he better be performing. And he wasn't. He was one of those defensive ends who I was talking about earlier who got beat on almost every play to the edges, whether it was a toss or a pitch or a rollout or an RPO where he got sucked inside. Like, I mean, I can't really expect too much of the guy because he's Bumney Rutini, but if we're asking you to be a starting defensive end in the National Football League, you better be up to par, and you better be ready to go, because Ron Rivera has said time and time again, it is next man up. So that next man that comes up, he better be ready, and he better perform to the level that we expect as Washington football fans. Because believe it or not, as Washington football fans, we have high expectations for our team. That's going to end it for me. This is your Burgundy Boss. Remember, like the video, subscribe to the YouTube channel, comment below, give us suggestions, tell me who you want on the channel, and